in Genesis chapter 25, starting verse 27. Talking about Jacob and Esau. Everybody remember Jacob and Esau? You got Abraham, you got Isaac. Isaac had two boys, Jacob and Esau. Esau was older, right? When the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the field, but Jacob was a peaceful man living in tents. Now Isaac loved Esau because he had a taste for game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Okay, so Daddy loves Esau, the older boy, because he's a man's man, hunter, go out and kill the game. And Rebekah loves Jacob. Jacob was more of a refined type, let's put it that way. When Jacob had cooked stew, Esau came in from the field, and he was famished. And Esau said to Jacob, "Please let me have a swallow of that red stuff there, for I am famished." Therefore his name was called Edom. But Jacob said, "First, sell me your birthright." Esau said, "Behold, I am about to die. So what use is this birthright to me?" And Jacob said, "First, swear to me." So he swore to him, and sold the birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank, and rose and went out on his way. Then Esau despised his birthright. That story always seemed a little bit unrealistic. You know? I never got the full impact. I thought it just sounded like, okay, you know, yeah, it makes a good point, but this is kind of silly that the guy would give up his birthright. We got to know what the birthright is. The birthright is it's the inheritance that the firstborn had coming to him. Let me tell you guys, it was everything. Remember the culture that they were in, the time they were in. It meant status. It meant control of the family. It meant being the patriarch. That's the way God did things at the time. That, you know, He spoke and blessed through the patriarch or the male leader of the family. So it has huge implications. Not to mention, you also got twice as much stuff as everybody else on the inheritance. And Isaac was not a poor guy. He had a lot of stuff. So this was a big deal. And for somebody to just dismiss that for some soup always seemed a little odd. Well, I heard a guy talking about this week, and I'm no psychologist, of course, but he had some research. And maybe you might not be familiar with these terms, but I bet you are familiar with the application of these terms. There's a term called impact bias that psychologists will tell you about today. Have you ever heard that term, impact bias? Basically what it says, and I've got the definition, but basically what it says is that we tend to overestimate the pleasure of some gaining something or achieving some goal or some event. And it works the other way too. We overestimate the displeasure or the tragedy of an event. Oh, it's going to be awful, and it's not that bad. But we also tend to say, oh man, it's going to be great. When I finally get that video game, man, it is going to be the most awesome video game that has ever been invented. And it's all you think about, you're focused on it, and then you get it, man, it's cool for a while, and you get into it like, you know, it's just the same game as the rest of them, you know. Or whatever it is, you understand? Man, when I get that job, oh, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be so cool to have that responsibility, be able to make that money. Man, it's going to be the greatest thing in the world. And then you get it, and it's cool and all, but then you got to get up and go to work, and people are jerks there, and you got to pay taxes, so you don't make much. You see what I'm saying? It's called impact bias. We all do that. It is a common phenomenon among the human psyche. So this is, you know, the psychologists have gone back and looked at this story. Make sure everybody's paying attention to me, please. The second psychological phenomenon that's at work here is something called anchoring or focalism. And we do this too. It's when you tend to focus so much on one aspect that you forget about everything else, the negatives. Okay? And so you're going to buy a new car, and maybe your parents are taking you around, you're looking for a car, and you walk on the lot, and there it is, man. It's awesome. It's whatever you want. It's like a 68 Mustang, whatever it is. And it is painted, man, it is perfect. It's awesome. And that's it. That's all you think about. And despite it having no engine. You know, it's okay put something in it, but man, it looks good. The body is awesome. That's all you focus on, and you forget, because of this one detail, you forget about all the negatives that are associated with it. Impact bias and focus. Now, these are two actual phenomena that are at play here. If you really think about this story, maybe you don't have a problem understanding it. When I put these two scientific perspectives together and think about it, and then think about how it might apply to my own life, it begins to be a little bit more realistic to me. I can kind of see how this guy would sell his birthright for a bowl of stew. Because I've done the same thing. I bet you have too. Now, you may have never come in from hunting and been hungry, and your brother's actually cooking some soup. And you say, I'll give you all my stuff if you give me a cup of soup. That seems kind of silly. But we do the same thing. We have this tendency to overestimate the pleasure that we will receive from whatever temptation is out there. And we also, that's all we focus on. My status as my popularity in the class is going to be elevated. And that's all I think about. My ability to impress this girl is going to be elevated. And that's everything else that just kind of fades into the background. And that's what my focus is. And you can look at whatever it is in your life that you struggle with, and that tends to kind of magnify itself a little bit. Everything else diminishes. Nothing else has any, the bad that could go wrong is never as good as the good of this one thing. And we tend to do that. If you remember the end of that story, that little paragraph I just read, Esau, first of all, Jacob is a real jerk here, okay? He's the bad little brother. He makes him swear an oath. It's irrevocable. Once you do that, it's a done deal. He knew. He was smart. He knew this was a bad deal for Esau, so he made him swear to it. Made him give an oath. So Esau stuffs his face, and you just got to, if you put yourself in Esau's position, I can just imagine, man, the first couple of bites, he's probably wired up. He's mad. Hey, give me that soup. So he finally has to go through this rigmarole, and he's eating it. Starving. And he gets about halfway through, and he probably hits it. And I imagine when he took the last spoonful and he looks down and the bowl is empty, he probably realizes, man, that was just some soup. It wasn't even that good. It tasted good for a little bit. You ever been, at home or something, your parents say, what we're going to eat for supper, you're going to go out and get something, and man, something sounds great, I want pizza or chicken, let's go get something. No, I don't feel like going out, let's just leave a sandwich. And the sandwich didn't sound good, but once you eat it, you're okay, you're satisfied. Same thing in reverse. Esau had staked everything he had. He had given up everything he had because he was focused on the now and the immediate and the gratification that he was going to receive out of one bowl of stew. And I can't imagine the disappointment and the sadness that he felt when that stew was gone. It says he got up and he went out and he despised his birthright. It just wasn't worth it. The Bible tells us that that is precisely the way sin works in our lives. Satan can magnify it. Man, it's looking good. It's the only thing we're focused on. Everything else diminishes. We don't see the negative consequences. We just focus on that one thing, and we're hyper-focused. I think the psychologists have proven it. Your brain will do that to you. It lies to you. It's called temptation. And that's all you think about. And once you go through it, it's too late. You sold out whatever piece of your integrity that you had to give up for that. You sold out some of your purity. That was a gift that God had given you. You sold out on some of your character, some of your reputation. It's gone. You've given that up for a bowl of stew. And you fill in the blank, whatever that is.